Yep, we got Chris Rose, and today Chris Rose is brought to us by Malley's. Guys, all you need is love and chocolate. This Valentine's Day, be ready to say those three little words. I got Malley's. From friendship to love to every situationship in between. Malley's has the perfect chocolate to say what you feel. Their famous chocolate-covered strawberries and grapes are back in stores on February 13th and 14th. And the rest of their Valentine's favorites, like Gold Cup assortments, foil-wrapped solid and milk, dark chocolate hearts, peanut butter, caramel, raspberry, marshmallow-filled hearts, and so much more are in stores now and online. This is Valentine's Day. Say it with Malley's. And with that, we are thrilled to welcome Chris Rose back to the show. Chris, how you doing today? Thanks for joining us.
Doing great, guys. Happy Cavs trade day. How is everybody?
Indeed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Obviously, that's mostly what we've been talking about so far, Chris. What is your reaction to the deal?
Can't wait to get to the game tonight.
Yeah.
I'll be out there, rooting on the Cavs. My oldest son and I got tickets a little while ago, and little did we know that this would kind of explode in our face the last 24 hours. It's crazy. I've gone through a variety of emotions. Number one is I loved watching Garland. I mean, he was a blast. He was one of those guys that felt like he loved playing in Cleveland. And I think that's probably the toughest part for me as a Cavs fan is that when guys really adopt Cleveland as their home, you want to wrap your arms around them. But the tough thing is that it's not working. I hated his feet in terms of height, and I hated him in terms of health. The guy got Zydrunas Ilgauskas' feet without the recovery, and that stinks. And you can't win with that small backcourt. It does not work in NBA history. There's been less than 5 times where both starting guards have been 6'3" or shorter. And in today's game, it's virtually impossible. So I understand it. I'm not a huge Harden guy. I don't ever stop to watch him play basketball, but I do think he'll make us better.
Chris, we were talking about kind of how our reactions changed from first hearing about this Tuesday morning to having a few hours to process it, what we thought about it. Were you the same way in that regard?
Very much so. I think it's almost similar to the way the Browns coaching hire has gone. Like, I can't believe we're doing this might not be so bad. Now, it's totally different ends of the spectrum. We're talking about a future Hall of Fame player versus a 60-year-old first-time NFL head coach. But I think you can draw some parallels here. We all want to believe that this happens. We really liked the idea of a core 4, right? Guys kind of growing up together, even though not all of them started their career in Cleveland. They were an easily rootable team. I remember coming on this show last year and talking about it, that, my gosh, not only are they super offensively efficient and they're a fun team to watch, they're easy to gravitate toward. Like, they're likable dudes. You want to see them do well. And then we hit the you-know-what last year against Indiana in the second round, and you're like, well, this can't work. And then everybody's calling us bad words that equate with soft, right? And nobody likes that. And then we get off to this horrific start, and we can't get out of our own way. It's been much better the last 2.5 to 3 weeks. It still feels a little clunky at times, to be honest with you. So I'll be curious to see how James Harden adds to this team, because we all know that he does make bigs better, that whether you like his game or you don't, that he is a terrific pick-and-roll player and gets guys, as long as Jared Allen and Evan Mobley can use these things effectively, and it's kind of a 50-50. I kind of feel like I'm watching Nelson Aguilar try and catch a football when I see those guys try and catch a basketball, that it should help out.
Chris, this Harden move obviously shows that the Cavs are willing to do anything to try and win a championship this year and next year. With that being said, we still have some time before tomorrow and the deadline. Are you okay with them exploring other options, even if it's trading Evan Mobley?
That's a tough one, isn't it? It's easy to move on from Garland from this standpoint. The guy's 6'1", and he is a defensive liability when teams are trying to beat you in a best-of-7 series. It is the exact opposite with Evan Mobley. He is as young, dominant a defensive player as we've got in this league. And you just feel like there's so much more offensively. We've seen spurts of it at times over the last season and a half, but he hasn't been able to put it all together. I think the only guy you trade him for is Giannis. I can't see him. I heard you guys talking before I came on about Anthony Davis. There's no way in the world I give him up in the Anthony Davis deal. I like Anthony Davis. He's still a great offensive player. He is an eraser on defense as well. But at his age, with his, I mean, we just got rid of a guy that doesn't play. We can't bring one in where it's like a coin flip whether he's going to be on the floor on a given night. So Giannis is the only guy I would entertain it with, and I would have to have a better understanding of where that allows us to go in terms of extending certain guys moving forward.
I don't think if an Anthony Davis move's coming to fruition that Evan Mobley's anywhere in
No,
this
no.
conversation. So we can take that off the table. If they're moving
no.
Evan Mobley, Chris is right. It's for Giannis and Giannis only.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Chris, I want to get your thoughts on the Guardians here because I'm frustrated, and a lot of the fans are frustrated. We've had an offseason where a lot of the other teams that don't usually spend have spent some money here, and the Guardians have not improved. They have not. The only money they've spent on offense is to bring back Austin Hedges, the worst hitter in baseball, and fans are frustrated. Are you one of those fans, or are you okay with what they've done, which is nothing?
Of course I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
Of course. How can you not be? To me, the frustrating thing is that you have now twice extended a guy who wants to be in Cleveland and is a statue guy in Jose Ramirez. And everybody talks out here in particular about how the Angels did Mike Trout dirty. I'm not going to say that the Guardians are in the same wavelength, but my God, at least the Angels tried. Like they did. Anthony Rendon at one point was a pretty good baseball player.
Yes, he was.
They have brought other pitchers in at times, and it hasn't, quite frankly, just worked out for them. The Guardians the last several years, it's been an embarrassment what has gone on in the offseason. It is not good enough. And shockingly, since Jose signed his initial extension right before the 2022 season started, we've made the playoffs 3 out of 4 years. So they're going to say, hey, listen, I mean, you know how many teams would love to make the playoffs 75% of the time during that stretch? Well, yes, there's a lot. But it's inexcusable that you watch this offense the way it performed last year and don't make one single play. I know that Chris Antonetti came out and said, well, there are veterans out there that weren't comfortable with them coming in here and being a role player instead of an everyday ball player. And then, 24 hours later, we see Austin Hayes sign a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Chicago White Sox, presumably to play every day in their outfield instead of be a guy against left-handed pitching here.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's accurate, but there's got to be some stuff that we can do. I'm also surprised that we did not trade Stephen Kwan in the offseason. I thought that there was, and by the way, there still might be a possibility. I wouldn't be shocked if a team like the Phillies call us. I wouldn't be shocked if the Mets call us as well during spring training. I think those are still possibilities.
Yeah, I said a couple of weeks ago I wouldn't be surprised if he got traded before the start of the season. But what's particularly frustrating, obviously they're not going to play with the big, huge money guys. We get that, but and I know this guy's not a perfect fit position wise, but you're telling me you couldn't have paid a little more to Eugenio Suarez to get that power? Like DH him for a year. Okay, maybe CJ Kafis plays less. Or
they've
what
spent
about
$10 million. Eugenio Suarez just signed for 15 to Cincinnati.
Right.
For essentially a 1-year deal. There is an option, but he'll
so
probably
why couldn't they have paid $20 million to him?
No. Look, the Pittsburgh Pirates have spent money this offseason.
Yeah,
That's
the White Sox, the A's.
Yeah, and it is frustrating. There's really not. They're comfortable saying that these young guys, we're going to give them at bats and they better shine.
And
that's where we are.
I would have liked to see them trade for Brendan Donovan too. The Mariners didn't even give up that much. I don't know, but anyway, one other thing on the Guardians before we get to the Browns here. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in the league, and this has been brewing for a little bit, that we do not have a Larry Doby day. Jackie Robinson deserves everything. Mm-hmm. But Larry Doby, it wasn't like America became less racist in 2 months. I mean, he had to deal with everything that Jackie Robinson did. Right. He was a great representative, by all accounts, a great man, and a Hall of Fame player. Why do you think the league doesn't do that for Larry Doby as well?
I'm not saying this is right. Here's my guess.
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line? Do we?
It's fair. Yeah.
That's my guess is the answer. I don't think it's the right one. I think it is important because most people have no idea that Larry Doby came along 2.5 months after Jackie Robinson. They just don't. They don't know the history of the sport. Now they've done a really, really good job with the Roberto Clemente Award and things of that nature, but they haven't done a good enough job. Is it going to change anytime soon? No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, they should let Cleveland all wear number 14 on the day that Larry Doby made his Major League debut.
100%.
Chris, it's a long way to August. It's a longer way to November. But what's your read on the Browns quarterback situation? What's your preference on the Browns quarterback situation? I understand those are two separate questions, so tackle them how you want to.
Punt? Is that a good enough? No.
It's a fair, and it's one that's not discussed enough around here.
That's the
frankly.
Jim Tressel method. There,
I read a lot of your stuff, and here's where I sit with it. I think that they should give Shadur the first crack. And really, this might be his only shot at being a full-time starter in this league. And see what you've got. Do I expect him to be great? No, I don't, because I just, I was walking yesterday and just kind of going over in my head, how many teams would call about Shadur to be their starter right now in the NFL?
Probably zero. Maybe one.
I think there's a handful that might do it, but not a ton. There's definitely not a ton. And I think if we just kind of block out the noise and boil it down strictly to football, and can he get this team where it wants to go? I would say probably not, but I'm willing to give it a shot. But it is a very short leash in terms of one season. But if you commit to him, then commit to him for the full year and see what you got and see what Todd Monken and his staff can come up with. And then if it doesn't work, presumably we've got another great quarterback class coming out in 2027. I mean, how many times have we heard that? It was supposed to be great in 2026.
Yeah.
We really got basically one first-round quarterback is what it feels like, definitively.
So
right?
would you not draft a quarterback at all in this draft?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't see it. Like if Ty Simpson's name gets called at 24, I'll root for him. I'll want him to be successful, but it just doesn't feel right, particularly with how many other areas of need there are.
I also think it's going to be tough to take a quarterback that's not the number one overall pick and put him in this organization this year without ever seeing Shadur play and dealing with this rabid fan base that want to see 12 play. And I don't know that the locker room can sustain that. I don't know that I'd put that pressure on Monken his first year. You know what I mean?
Well, look, there's going to be pressure regardless, because if Shadur, to me, and I hate getting into this, but it feels the Shadur conversation has become almost like a political fireball, right?
1,000%.
It's crazy.
Where during presidential elections in recent times, you're going to have 10% of the people that will back that candidate no matter what that person does, and 10% of the people who will hate that person and would never even want to be in the same state as that person, let alone have that person running our country. And then there's a bunch of us that are kind of caught in the middle. We're like, we want what's best for our country. Like, let's just figure out who that is. And I think that's a lot of the Shadur narrative here, is that there's a lot of Browns fans that just want the best quarterback to play. There's going to be Shadur backers who are going to say, it's always the organization's fault. It's the coach's fault. Jerry Jeudy can't catch the ball. Our offensive line sucks. So no matter what he does, it's never 12's fault. And then there's a certain sector that are just going to say, that guy's a fifth-round pick. He should never be out there anyway. He's getting more play because people just make noise about him. Why do they constantly talk about him? I say just let him play. Is he the best option we've got? I still think that Deshaun Watson's probably a better quarterback at this point, but I don't think you can go back.
Todd Monken willingly signed up for this. Let's
Yes,
make
he did.
that clear.
Yes, he did.
Chris, I think one thing you touched on that I think hasn't been talked about a lot is I think with Shadur there would be a quiet commitment, right? Like if you say we're going to go with him, you're going to focus on drafting tackle and wide receiver, and you're not going to take a quarterback till later, if at all. And you're going to kind of say that the 27 window remains open, but we want Shadur to have what he didn't have last year, what none of those guys had last year, let's be honest, in terms of rolling it forward and letting the new players and the new coach figure it out on offense. You see it that same way?
Yeah, but this has to be really dictated by the Browns. They have to be on the same page here. I mean, there can't be – it has to be an if-then scenario. It can't be, well, we're going to listen to this, and if we start out 1-4 and he hasn't played great, well, then what do we do? It has to be this is the way we're going, and this is the way we're rolling. Look, Zach, you know this from being around the team. These guys believe in him. The players believe in him. He's got something. And when he came in last year and made that first start against the Raiders, I'll take the Baltimore game and kind of throw that out. That was, as we found out, that was a extremely difficult situation for him to come in. But having watched Dylan Gabriel the previous 2 months try and move the ball for a first down, that was excruciating. That was some like 99 Brown stuff without the talent of Tim Couch on offense. The offense looked different when Shadur was out there. It felt different. It may not have changed things as statistically. He might have been a horrible quarterback when you pump out all the metrics, but it just felt different. So I'm willing to give him this year and go with it. It's not ideal. It is not ideal, but I say go for it.
Chris, let's wrap it up with this. You're going to the Cavs game with your son, you said, tonight against the Clippers. If a loose ball comes in the direction of you and your son, who will be quicker to get to that basketball?
Well, let's say, first of all, based on where our seats are, if a ball's making it up there, I think Corey Bajorquez has punted it.
But in theory.
In theory, I will say this. For people that have not seen me in person, I'm 6 feet tall, so above average, but not a huge man. My oldest son is 6'5".
Wow.
And, has very long limbs, and he's actually a hooper. Okay. So he will be the first one to go get that. Now, if there was a loose ball on the ground and we're talking about a football, he's probably running the other direction. And I'll jump on that grenade if I have to and go curl up and take whatever happens at the bottom of a fumble pile.
You know what happens under that pile.
Punches, biting, kicking.
Stuff you don't want to happen to you.
It's the PG version, Bull.
That's true.
There's guys who would get arrested for felonies based on what happens under there.
Yeah.
And depending on who's on the field, it actually could be a second or third felony.
That's true. Definitely in more than one case. Chris, have fun at the game tonight. Thanks for joining us as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Guys, I appreciate the time as always. Take care.
Got it.